गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
जय हिंद जय This evening is a celebration of partnerships, shared visions, and the invaluable contribution of our corporate members who continue to strengthen the design fraternity through the innovation, collaboration, and unwavering support. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to an inspiring and meaningful evening together. To formally commence the program, I invite NEC member Architect Prashant Sutaria to deliver the welcome address. Can we have a huge round of applause for Architect Prashant Sutaria?
गुड इवनिंग थोड़ा और जोर से गुड इवनिंग दैट्स द स्पिरिट सो फॉर्मली गुड इवनिंग माय फ्रेंड्स फ्रॉम IIID architects interior designers and today's evening is for our corporate members so a big applause for all our corporate members for their continuous support and encouragement and involvement so it's been a great pleasure and a great journey for all of us together. And as rightly said, it's all about collectiveness and collaboration. So I would say a big thank you to our corporate members for being there with us, supporting us, giving us suggestions and interacting with us so that collectively we can do better design. We can give direction to Indian construction, the material and architecture and interior design as a whole for developing India into a better well-designed built environment. One of the reasons why we do these evenings because we want our corporate members to interact with us and give us suggestions or if they have any questions as to how we can work together. So just to say that we have some of our corporate members who have been very vocal and in our some of our last sessions they had very interesting questions to ask us and I'm thankful to them for bringing out certain finer points with which we can work on, which we improved upon and we can deliver a better environment for a collaborative work together in this particular forum. So I would request all of you to interact with us or if any questions are there and if there is time permits then Master of Ceremony if she gives an opportunity for questions then do ask us in the forum or after the forum is over we are all here for the lovely evening ahead so we can interact at that time but do take this opportunity and let us know your views on that and I would say that with your support, I think Dr. Prashant Reddy, our Vice President, would speak more about it, the numbers. But we have really grown and we are growing every day. So looking forward to more support from all of you. Thank you very much and looking forward to some interesting conversations with all of you on individual levels. Thanks.
A little huger round of applause. Love the energy in the room. Awesome. Thank you so much, Prashant sir, for setting the perfect tone for this evening. Leadership is about creating possibilities and inspiring collective progress. to share her thoughts and vision for the future. I now invite our respected President-elect, Architect Shamini Shankar Jain, to address the gathering. Again, a huge round of applause for ma'am. Hand mic or? Hand.
Good evening, everybody. President Jignesh Modi, VP Dr. Prashant Reddy, Honorary Secretary Anshuman Sharma, IPP Saroj Wadia, my fellow chapter chairs, along with their teams, and most importantly, our corporate members for whom we are all gathered together today. So it is actually a privilege to be here and to engage with all of you. These are one-off times where we have our joint NEC, and we've made it a point to have our corporate members along with us. And as I look around, I actually see they're not just corporate members. I think you are all innovators, manufacturers, design thinkers, thought leaders, entrepreneurs. So people who quietly work behind the scenes and influence every space we inhabit and experience. The Indian Institute of Interior Designers has always stood for excellence in design, and we need to look at a future which I believe our greatest opportunity not lies within the institution alone, but what we can build together. So let us look at a future together. The challenges are complex, as we all are aware. Technology is reshaping the future in the way design, manufacture, and experience is happening. Artificial intelligence is changing our workflows. Climate change demands new materials, new thinking. However, all this is created by an ecosystem of which people who are willing to collaborate with courage, curiosity, and generosity. So, I would like to invite each one of you corporate members to join the IIID legacy for a future. Let us build upon that. So a collective that asks not, what can I contribute today, but rather, what legacy can we create together? Together, I believe we can establish design innovation labs where new ideas, materials, and technologies are explored before they reach the marketplace. IIID can be that platform. We could create material discovery libraries, giving designers access to emerging products while providing industry with meaningful feedback from our practices. We could launch research fellowships focused on climate responsive design, circular economies, wellness, heritage conservation, and a future in our built environment. We could create factory immersion programs allowing designers to understand the science, craftsmanship, and innovation behind your manufacturing processes while helping your industry better understand the evolving needs of our design practices. We could mentor a new generation not simply through lectures, but through shared projects, conversations, and real-world experiences. Together, we could also come out to the end a future of design report, identifying emerging trends and helping position Indian design as a global voice rather than just a global participant. And together, we can become a respected voice advocating for sustainability, quality, ethics, excellence across our profession. And this is what we need from you all. Let's be transformational. Let's build that culture that teams together, experiments together, and grows together. So, if we work towards this, IIID will become much more than a professional body. It will become a catalyst where we make lasting contributions for a better society. So that is what I urge you all to help IIID build a better future for our society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful words and inspiring perspective to see a transformed future together and sharing opportunities of building the synergy within our own industry for a better society. Every publication tells a story, captures a journey, and reflects the evolving spirit of our profession. It is now time for a special moment this evening. The launch of the latest edition of Inscape. May I request NEC member Sona Chatwani, who is also Inscape editor, to take our proceedings forward. Can we have a huge round of applause for Sona ma'am? Hyderabad, louder for Sona ma'am. Hand mic, ma'am. This is good. Yeah. Nanu to speech.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mana Hyderabad. It is wonderful to be here with all of you today, and even more special because we are launching the cover of our May-June edition of Inscape issue in my own city. The magazine goes to print in just a couple of days and will reach you in the first week of July. But today, it's about this special moment, this first glimpse, and I'm truly excited to share it with you all. This edition is especially close to my heart, from design in focus, wellness spaces to materiality, to design in action, to hand and heart, celebrating the craft legacies of Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, to ledgers, route and routes, and our chapter stories. There is so much waiting for you in these pages. And of course, our NatCon feature brings together the spirit of design, dialogue, and collective growth that defines our fraternity. Jigneshji, your support for Inscape has meant more than words can express. Your warmth, encouragement, and belief in this platform have been invaluable. Thank you so much. To every member of the NEC, I repeat, to every member of the NEC, and all our chairpersons here, thank you sincerely. You're the backbone of everything we do as an organization. Your commitment and energy reflect in every page of this magazine, even when your names may not appear. We see it and we deeply value it. To our corporate and trade members, Inscape is a national platform and it becomes richer and more vibrant through your participation. We invite you to be a part of it. Your work deserves this stage, and we would love to showcase your journey. July is around the corner, so keep an eye on your mailbox. Until then, enjoy this first look. Before we unveil the cover, I would like to invite our President, Jignesh Modi, and all our office bearers to please join us on the dais for the unveiling. Request past presidents, Javin Jakarias and architect Sarosh Wadia also to do the honors. Request our bureau heads, Monica Modi and Vandana, to also join on the dais, please. Mehul ji, Prashant ji, yep, Anshuman ji, yep.
Hello, hello.
Check, check.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in applauding the unveiling of the latest edition of Inscape. Can we have a huge round of applause? Any closing statements? That was indeed very beautiful. Thank you so much, Sona ma'am. Thank you so much, all the chairpersons, all the NEC members who had come forward. Thank you so much. Can we have once again have a huge round of applause for the launch of Inscape. Behind every thriving professional community are organizations and partners who believe in growth, excellence, and collaboration. Tonight, we take a moment to recognize and celebrate our corporate members for their continued support and contribution to the Indian Institute of Interior Designers community. May I request and invite Architect Pallavi Anchuri, immediate past chairperson, IIID HRC, to please join me on stage. We will now be calling out the names of all our corporate members who are present here today. And as ma'am takes your name out, we request you to please rise and recognize and, rise and share your recognition that you're here in the room. The entire team from the entire corporate members can also stand. Please rise and recognize your presence to the rest of the people in the room. Thank you so much, and over to ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So the first is Asian Granito. Can we have a team? Austin Plywood. Bandari Agencies. Yeah. Bloom India. Anyone from the team? Carrier Air Conditioning, Casantro. Yeah, thank you. Dash Square, Fans Art, Finesta, anyone here? Flybird Interior Products, Fundomax India. Yes. Godrej Locking Solutions and Systems. Green Lamb Industries. Yeah. Italica Granito. Torf Fenestra System Private India Limited. Kitsch Architecture Products Private Limited. Kohler India. Anyone from Kohler? Yeah. Hafle India Private Limited. Nexion International Private Limited, Ozone Overseas Private Limited, Pasolite Electricals Private Limited, Perennial India Private Limited, Rao Polymer Private Limited, Sheila Foam Limited, Simpolo Vitrified Private Limited, Somani Ceramics Limited, Stanley Retail Limited, Veka Private Limited, Westmark Door Private Limited, Westmark, Weinberger India Private Limited. So thank you very much for joining. And there are special prospect invitees from Hyderabad we have invited and who came to attend today's evening. So let me introduce Magniflex, Mr. Ravi from Magniflex. Mr. Ravi. Somfy, Mr. Vipin. My God. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. Dimore, Mr. Hari Prasad. From Quantra, Ms. Khyati. Ms. Khyati. Sorry, Khyati. Yeah, please. MCR Marbles, Mr. Raghavendra. From Darpan, Mr. Suleiman Hirani. From Culture, Praful Jain, Pushpak Jain, Stella Ramesh Patel, Elevatex Bhavant Anand, Viva Aditi and team, Moon and Bakers, Mr. Abhiman and team. From Philips, we have Ratish and Nikita. Okay. So thank you very much for joining us on short notice. Hope you will enjoy evening today. Over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you so much, Pallavi ma'am. Let us all put our hands together once again for all the corporate members. Thank you for all your partnerships and commitments. Thank you so much. Vision, commitment, and leadership are the pillars that guide every successful organization. It is now my privilege to invite the President of IIID, Architect Jignesh Modi, to deliver the presidential address. Can we have a huge round of applause for Jignesh, sir? And Michael. And Michael, this is good.
Good evening, a very warm good evening, though it's conditioned, to all my dear members. And Pallavi, we forgot one name, Alphen. Tulsi Ramji, are you here? Yes, so Tulsi Ramji has also been invited and he's going to join soon as the corporate member. Thank you for being here. So all my dear corporate members, I'll start with you, addressing you. My dear team members from the National Executive Committee who are seated in the front, you're supposed to mingle with the corporates, so after my speech you're going to go back and sit at the tables and sort out the queries, answer to the questions, and make sure that they are with us as long as they can be. Dear chairpersons, honorary secretaries, and the chairperson-elects from all over India, a big round of applause for all of you who are here today. Industry leaders, our partners of today's showcase Insider X who are present here amongst the audience. friends and fellow members of IID family. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to this, our IID Corporate Fellowship Night 3, the third one in this series in this term. And yes, today is not about presentations. You are not going to look at any presentations. We are not going to talk about any sponsorships. So today is not about sponsorships. It is also not about business transactions. It is about relationships and personal transactions. I often say that every successful interior design project begins long before the first drawing is prepared and long before the first product reaches the site. It begins with trust. Trust between a designer and the client. Trust between the designer and the manufacturer. Trust between vision and execution. And trust between creativity and technology. And trust is built through conversations like the ones we will have this evening. When we look around this room, we see a remarkable gathering of people. We have leaders representing more than 35 chapters and centers from across India. We have members of the National Executive Committee. We have some of the finest corporate brands in the country. We have innovators. We have manufacturers. We have solution providers. We have thought leaders who collectively influence the future of our profession. Each one of us brings something unique to this table. Designers bring imagination. Corporates bring innovation. Manufacturers bring capability. And industry partners bring expertise. And when these trends come together, extraordinary things happen. The greatest projects are never created in isolation. They are created through collaboration, through discussions between each of us. A beautiful space may carry a designer's signature, but behind that success lies an entire ecosystem of trusted partners who make this vision possible. That is why IIID places such importance on its corporate membership program. Our corporate members are not merely sponsors or just supporters of the institute. They are the stakeholders in the growth of design profession. They contribute to knowledge sharing. They contribute to professional development, technological advancement, product innovation, and the overall progress of our entire industry and fraternity. I would like to sincerely thank each one of you who are present in person today for your faith in IID and for the valuable role that you play in strengthening this organization. At the same time, I would like to once again make a special request to all our NEC members, to all our chairpersons, secretaries, and the elects present here tonight, that let us view this evening not as a one-time networking event. Let us view this as something which is going to begin a deeper working partnership. Let us spend time with each of the company, each of the brand that is present here today. Let us understand their innovations. Let us understand what they are bringing to the table. Explore opportunities, each one of you, regarding educational programs, chapter initiatives, CPs, exhibitions, student engagement, research programs, and even professional development. Most importantly, the conversations should not end here today. They should continue. Relationships grow when they are nurtured consistently over long periods of time. The strength of IID does not lie in its numbers or its memberships or its events. The strength of IID lies in the quality of conversations and the connections that we build across the fraternity. And as we move forward under the banner of Synergy Next, our goal is simple: to create stronger partnerships, to create greater opportunities for all our members, to create meaningful conversations with our corporate partners, and to build a collaborative ecosystem. Friends, Hyderabad has once again demonstrated its exceptional hospitality and organizational excellence. I congratulate the entire team from Hyderabad, Chairperson Architect Praveen Kumar, the entire working committee, the Kriya committee, and the Insider X leadership for bringing us together in such a wonderful setting. And as we celebrate the fellowship this evening, let us remember that the future of our profession will not be built by individual success stories alone. It will be built through collective success, through collaborations like these, through mutual trust, and through partnerships, and finally through a shared commitment to design excellence and to excellence in whatever we do. I wish all of you a wonderful evening filled with meaningful conversations, new friendships, fresh opportunities, and lasting relationships. Thank you all for being here. Enjoy the fellowship. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts, achievements, and aspirations for the future of our fraternity. Thank you so much. A lot of us in the room are here for the first time, and I'm sure some of us might be curious to know more. Our leaders here did share a lot of insights of what the corporate meet is all about. However, if you have any questions, you may ask now, and we have the right people in the room to help us with all our answers. We will now be passing on the mics. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. This is the best time to ask. Any of our corporate members have any questions? Any of our prospects to become corporate members have any questions? Anyone? I can't see you.
You can also give suggestions. I mean, you have been participating in various activities with us. So if you feel there is something which you would us to do for better collaboration or better results, I mean, please feel free to share.
Hello. I am a corporate member myself, representing Fundamax. My association with IIID is since last 10 years, and our journey began as just a normal member, a corporate member from Bangalore chapter, and today, as you all can see, I am there as the Vice President of the National Executive Committee. So, you know, the association, as the President earlier mentioned, is built on trust, mutual benefit, and also relationship building. we have stayed committed, and we have seen the benefits of it as well. A normal question comes in that are corporate seen as merely sponsors? I would like to correct, and I think this has been time and again told by not only the past presidents and also reiterated by President and President-elect that corporates are also members. They are equally members, and in this whole journey, I have a lot of architect friends. We don't speak about business at all. It's purely a great relationship building. Some of the feedback, at least what I have been receiving is the benefit of being a corporate member. We have definitely benefited, and we continue our association, and we have also, if you have seen the growth of the corporate members, that also shows it also reflects the success of the partnership or being a member. Yes, there are some concerns. I've also seen that, these corporate nights are conducted once in quarter, once in 4 months. Whenever we have the joint NEC, we normally do this corporate evening. And this happens once in 3 to 4 months, and then plus when we have flagship events like NatCon or the Excellence Awards, we invite corporates. But in this, unless and until you have representation from either the founders or the top executives or whoever you are authorizing from your company, unless they really come and network, you won't see the benefit. Merely being a member by filling the form and paying a fee won't get you any benefits. I repeat, merely filling the form and paying the requisite fee won't get you any benefits of being a corporate member. You have to use every available opportunity of either being in the events or as a delegates to come, meet, greet, and network to know. I have seen many times many companies send executives, most of the time they are somewhere in the seated in the end, loitering around, smoking somewhere. They don't come forward, don't network, don't connect, and then they complain that, we are not benefited from this relationship. But then, this doesn't work like that. You have to come forward, take the front seats, and please network with, today, because of the exhibition happening parallelly, we do not have the full strength. Some of the chapter chairs are still traveling. We are expecting a full house. I think as the evening goes, you will see this house is going to be full. We are expecting 105 architect designers from 36 chapters, including the newest chapter, Kanpur is here. 36 chapters represented by the chapter chair-elect, as well as their secretaries, honorary secretaries. Great opportunity to connect these 36 chapters across India. Where else would you get such an opportunity? And these are all from the design fraternity. So please make the best use of it. Please, not only make sure your right representatives are available, and we also have, Tarun would agree with me from Bangalore, Fansart, one of the early corporate members, that you have to be there. You have to be there, you have to network and connect. Just sending somebody, I've seen this even in our own company, and then we made it a point that we will be represented from the top to really network, connect, and gain the benefits. So in this whole process, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow corporate members, if you have any query, we'll be happy to address. Similarly, if there are any queries from the chapters of how the corporates could work, we'll be very happy to address it as well. Sanjay Kaul. Yeah, Mr. Sanjay Kaul.
Sanjay ji, I'm coming to you. We would like you to share your experience with Triple ID.
Good evening to all of you, and As an organization, when we had this corporate membership coming into us, I think it has leveraged the brand to the next level, undoubtedly. Now, what I understand what Prashant sir also said, we operate at a pan-India level and we have a team, dedicated team to connect with the architects at all major locations. So I'm sure that, and I'm confident the kind of change what we have seen in the business in the last 2.5 years, and specifically, last year when we did the Design Excellence Award, which was powered by Simpolo, I think that was the in thing for us. We were there at 5 locations, starting from Hyderabad, then we moved to Bangalore, and from Bangalore we went to Delhi, then to Surat, and the finale was at Bombay, last year, June. Now, there are 2 things of looking at it, and I think with due respects to all the senior members of the fraternity who are here, established in the business over the years, I think the experience is much, much higher than what we have the experience, a person at my level, I think, in terms of designing, in terms of doing the architectural practices over the years. But the one thing which definitely touched us was this young generation of the architects who are moving to the next level. You know, what happens, there are a lot of these students, a lot of these young architects who are passing out, who are in the initial stages, who need that kind of a support and recognition. Obviously, it's hard work, it's over the years, you move on to that level. But I think the way the whole thing went about as far as the Design Excellence Award is concerned, it was fabulous. First and the foremost thing is, the exclusivity what we got in that forum and the networking which we were able to do with the architects at the local level. And when we went to Bombay, that was a different ballgame altogether. The sheer experience what we had at all the locations in terms of the arrangements, in terms of everything aligned for product display, for networking, I think that definitely makes the heads turn. The other thing which I would like to emphasize, and which I'm sure by now the architects are well aware, Simpolo is known for design and development and innovation. So we have mastered that art and we have created that position in the mind of the architects that we are a premium category, undoubtedly, in the Indian market as far as building and construction industry goes. So there's no denial of the fact. And with pride, I say, the support which we have got from the fraternity members for our products, for our innovation, for our launches, and the acceptability of the products for their projects, for their working, has gone a long way over the last 2.5 years. So, you know, when we work, you have to collaborate. And that collaboration has to be from a long-term perspective, long-term working. It cannot be a short working with a short-sightedness. It doesn't work in business. The other thing also which I would like to just touch upon is we've expanded our operations. For your reference and understanding, we've added one plant at Malia near Morbi in Gujarat, which is up. The other major hub which is there for the business today is the belt which is in and around Tirupati, Kalahasti and Naidupeta, where we have put up the plant for the south. Because south consumes a large chunk of the tiles in totality, and logistics and timely services were very, very essential and crucial for us to enhance our levels. So we have done a plant at Naidupeta in South, which is catering, which is taking care of the South. And the third thing is we have launched faucets. We started with sanitary ware about 45 years back, moved on to tiles. Faucets was missing out, so this January we have launched faucets. So the kitty is complete. I'm sure our team at the pan-India level is there to give you that support, extend that support, and your patronage for Simpolo as a brand, I'm sure will always be there, and we will remain your partners in progress all along. Any help, any support, we are always there.
Awesome.
So with that note, I would say that thanks to all the members, thanks to all the past presidents, President Jagnesh Modi, all the office bearers who are there, present for this meeting, and I'm sure your support will always be cherished by all of us, and we'll keep moving ahead. Thank you very much for your support all along.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all our corporate members for sharing your valuable experiences that you've had. Yes, Jignesh sir.
I just want to, Sanjay bhai, thank you for those kind words. I just want to add here, this year when we met Jitu bhai Aghara, who is the chairman of Simpolo, so myself, Jignesh bhai, Haresh bhai, and 4 of us went there, and he told us something very interesting. He said, "Aap log aaye kyun ho?" He said, "You don't have to come to me ever for money. You just have to let us know." We said, "No, we have come to thank you." So thank you, Simpolo, for that unconditional support and that faith in this institution for being there for us. And I also, the same experience we had with Green Lamp industry, sir. So when we met the chairman, Mr. Saurabh Mittal, he said similar things, that I'm with you for a number of things. So we have people. Then I must acknowledge some of the new members who have joined. One of them is Ozone. Ozone is one of the fastest growing construction material company in the country. They have made the turnover 4 times in last 4 years. So we are very happy to be, part of their growth story and collaborate with them in whichever way we can. So I thought I'll just share a couple of points. I think there is more. Somebody else?
Yeah, I would like to take it to Mr. Vijay Desai from Godrej.
I will come back.
Yeah, please.
Hi, good evening. Am I audible at the last?
So you can join us at the stage. They can see you better. Yes.
So as a Godrej, we are a part of Triple ID for many, many years. Godrej representative was a part of NEC as a treasurer also. So association with Triple ID is a long, long journey for us. Yes, Samir, yeah. So I joined Triple ID representing Godrej around 3 years back. And to be frank, like when somebody was talking that this event is not for sponsorship, I fully agree for that, to be frank. Because for me, it's like I'm from Gujarat and staying at Bombay, so like going back to home in Diwali vacation when you meet all family members. So this is like that, where we are able to meet all the family members from the Triple ID. And like I was a part of Thane committee where we have Manjusha this time. To be frank, like as in a corporate, we always have a feeling that going to any architect or interior designer, we have to go and present in different way. They have a different way of working. But being a part of this committee for 2 years and meeting all the NEC members over here and even many of the chapter members, I never felt there's a difference between like me and you. I always seen a very, very supportive member, even when Anshuman was there for one of the program at our end. I think the input which are coming was like very much helpful. I'm sure as a corporate members, we are able to generate the business from them. But I think other than the business, what was most important and what I think Jignesh bhai touched up is the relationship building. I think the relationship which I was able to work with and we have developed, it has not only helped in terms of business, but also establishing the connect with many of other AIDs as well as the industry members. So I think there are many, many stories as a part of 2 years of my association with Thane committee, where so many activities what we have done, so much of learning, because we are doing so many activities as a corporate, but meeting to our colleagues from the different industries, also the architects, and working as a one team, that you have a completely different, you can say, way the architects are coming, working as a team. So I think that was a wonderful thing. And on this stage, I would like to take this chance to congratulate IIID HRC for successfully hosting this again over here. And I think to all the IIID team, I think it is becoming more grandeur over here. And with the scale of the stage, I can say that. So again, congratulations to all, and thank you for inviting Godrej over here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. As we come to the conclusion of this special corporate night, it is time to acknowledge everyone who contributed to making this evening a success. May I now invite Mr. Prashant Reddy, member NEC, to deliver the vote of thanks. And
Thank you, Sanjana. Just before I get into the formal part of giving the vote of thanks, I think when we began, it was 50% full. Now it is 80% full. We have added, there are a few more corporate members who have joined, the last edition being Kolar. Just acknowledging their presence, please. Yeah. We are already stretched on time, so I would not make it too long. So let me begin by good evening, dear corporate friends, fellow NEC members, past presidents, chapter chairpersons, chair-elects, honorary secretaries, corporate committee members who are also working together, including our Pallavi Garu, Gunjan, Dinesh Verma, the secretariat staff who do all the hard work of following up Pallavi, SP, Umesh, Shiba, and most importantly, HRC, without which this evening wouldn't have been possible. Praveen, Rakesh, Naveen, and the entire committee, including Kriya committee. Thanks for their support that we could arrange this corporate evening. In fact, this initiative was taken by Hyderabad a few years back to host the first corporate night. And I'm very glad that we are back here, and they started as a pioneers, and now this goes on. And we do this in every major city, and the interval is between 3 to 4 months, as mentioned earlier. As a chairperson for the corporate affairs, Mr. Sutaria outlined earlier, we are building a meaningful collaboration between a corporate member and the design fraternity, and the momentum is truly encouraging. Today, you know, with the last edition of Alphen, Mr. Modi, you know, we have grown to 47 members. That shows how there is a trust being built between the design fraternity and the corporate community. Beyond the numbers of what we know from the corporate, I think it would be very interesting for all of you to know that today, as confirmed by this afternoon, we are 10,600 members, 10,600 IIIDN members. Now, this is something for the corporates to reflect. 10,600, 2/3 of them are from the design fraternity. So for this evening, actually, we had received confirmation of participation from 31 corporates and 10 prospects. I think many of them are still in the exhibition space, so the insider X has held back most of our corporate members there as well. So there have also been some queries which have come from some of the chapter chairs that how can we foster this partnership between the chapters and us. So as mentioned earlier by the president and many other earlier speakers, I think this is purely built on a mutual beneficial relationship. The more the visibility, the more the regularly, then you can decide where you can connect. Every corporate cannot be part of every chapter event across India. It depends purely on their nature of business, their market presence and their interest. and everyone would like to invest. We keep getting, in fact, inquiries from the corporate that we would like to connect to certain chapters to grow their business. So there's a mutual beneficial relationship, and this can only happen by better communication. We are always reachable. Prashant Sutaria ji is available. I am reachable. Any of the NEC member will be more than happy to connect and bridge any kind of communication or any kind of expectation setting which has how you could gain and benefit from this relationship. So with this, I would like to thank each one of you for taking out your time and being here on this lovely evening. Let me not hold you further. The Hyderabad chapter is ready to host the fellowship. I would like to say thank you once again and wish you all a very nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of the organizing committee, thank you all for your presence, participation, and support. The strength of our organization lies not only in what we achieve individually, but in what we build together as a community. I request our National President, Architect Jignesh Modi, to please join us. All the NEC members, Chairperson IIID, HRC Architect Praveen Kumar, and the HRC MC, and all the corporate members for a group photograph. We do not want to miss this moment of capturing all of us together. So we request all of you to please come forward for a group photograph. We also invite our other guests to continue the conversations, build new event. We have the fellowship event, the fellowship meet organized by IIID HRC, followed by dinner. So request everybody to please enjoy the evening. The evening is yet not over. Once again, thank you so much and have a great evening. Request all the corporate members also to please join us in the front. All the corporate members across the country who have joined us here today, please join us for a group photograph. Request all the corporate members who still haven't joined us to please join us. Corporate members to please join us. Silent, please smile. Can I request Manoj Vahi sir to please take the stage? The stage is all yours, sir. We'll take a quick 5 minutes break and then we will start the fellowship evening. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the support. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Darling. Thank you so much.
Check, check. Check, 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 check.
Working? Working? Okay, good.
I think he can hear me. Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah.
Hello, hello. Am I here? Good evening. Good evening, everyone in the auditorium. I would now request all of you to please take your seats. We are about to commence the fellowship in the next 1 minute. Architect Jonas, Upton-Hansen from UK is amongst us, and you'll be soon hearing what he has to talk about. Requesting everyone to please take their seats. We'll be soon starting the event with the national anthem. Meanwhile, I have an announcement to be made for all the participants of the CEP5 lighting workshop. Since this fellowship gives you 2 credits, I would request all the participants who are going to be attending this fellowship meet to kindly meet Pallavi from the HO. She is seated right here on the first table to the left of the stage. You need to go and sign your name after this event, and you will be getting 2 credits for the CEP. So don't forget, having come this far, don't forget to collect 2 more credit points for attending the fellowship meet. So we have Pallavi sitting on the first table onto the left of the stage. That's an important announcement. So now we are starting this event. I would now request all of you to rise for the national anthem. May I request all of you to rise for the national anthem, please?
मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you in the auditorium. I welcome the entire NEC of IIID HRC. I welcome chapter chairpersons, honorary secretaries of chapters and centers, and chairpersons-elect who've traveled from various chapters to be part of this lovely evening. There are also many attendees from across India who had registered for the CEP5 on lighting. They are also with us. Besides, a warm welcome to all our corporate members. Thank you for making it today. We also have our IIID fellow members and our trade fraternity. So it gives me great pleasure that we have today with us, first time, so we always had a fellowship with the IID Insider X on the day 1. This is the first time we managed to pull an international speaker of repute and get him down to Hyderabad and, talk about his works, about what he sees design and architecture as, and share his insights with all of us today. So that just goes to show that IID HRC has been always setting new benchmarks for all the events which we keep curating one after the other, and this one is no different. I would now request IID HRC Chairperson, Architect N. Praveen Kumar to come onto the stage, and I would also request the dignitaries on the dais for the lighting of the lamp ceremony. I would request our IID President, Architect Jignesh Modi. Praveen, if you can please accompany the President to the stage. I would also request our Honorary Secretary IID HRC to accompany the IID National Honorary Secretary Architect Anshuman Sharma onto the stage. I would also request our keynote speaker, Architect Jonas Upton-Hansen, to come onto the stage. I would also request the HRC Vice Chairperson Trade, Mr. Ramesh Patel, to be on the stage. And last but not the least, the co-convener for the Insider X 2026 and Honorary Treasurer of IID HRC, Architect Naveen Chalsani, to come onto the stage for the lighting of the lamp. हाँ बोलो हैं So as we say, all auspicious things begin with the lighting of the lamp. This is to signify that darkness is out and knowledge is in with light. That's what we learned yesterday at the lighting workshop, that light removes darkness, ignorance, and brings in a lot of positivity, brings in a lot of positivity, future thinking, and gives us a sense of direction. So I think today with this lighting of the lamp, we have the direction set for the evening. Thank you. I would request Architect N. Praveen Kumar, Chairperson IIT, to come and address the gathering. A small request, I can see a group of people who are still standing. If I can just request all of them to please take their seats so that we can begin the proceedings. Even gentlemen at the back, if you can all take your seats. Yeah. So over to IID HRC Chairperson and the ma'am of the moment, Architect N. Praveen Kumar.
Thank you, Manojji. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the IID Hyderabad Regional Chapter, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to this special fellowship meet as part of IID Showcase Insider X 2026. I extend a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Architect Jonas Upton-Hansen from UHA, IID National President Architect Jignesh Modi, along with the esteemed National Executive Committee members, IID Pan India Chapter Chairpersons, IID HRC Past Chairpersons, senior members, distinguished guests, industry partners, fellow designers, and dear IID family members. Tonight is more than an event. It is a celebration of connections, ideas, and the passion that brings us together as a design community. We are especially honored to have an architect, Jonas, founding director of the global award-winning studio, UHA. His work across globally acclaimed projects reflects the power of design to transform experiences and shape the future of our built environment. We look forward to gaining valuable insight from his journey and expertise. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our fellowship meet partner Enhance for making this event possible. A special appreciation goes to our convention team, managing committee, volunteers, and every member who has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring this showcase in CEDRX 2026 to life. As we gather this evening, let us use this opportunity not only to learn from a global design leader, but also to strengthen our connections, exchange ideas, and build meaningful collaboration for the future. I wish you all an inspiring and memorable evening. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being an integral part of IIID family. Have an amazing evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen, for being short, crisp, and to the point. So now we move on to the next part of our program, which is we have a very special guest of honor today amongst us, our honorary president of IID, Architect Jignesh Modi. And I would now request the honorary secretary of IID HRC and the convener for the showcase, Architect Rakesh Vasu, to please introduce the man of the moment for IID, Jignesh Modi ji.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all, first of all, for being here. And it's nice to see most of you from various chapters. And Architect Jignesh Modi doesn't need any introduction, but I have to give this. Jignesh is a prominent voice in India's design and architecture fraternity, currently serving as the president of IIID and also recently elected as the vice president of the APSDA, a gathering of 18 national level design associations from the Asia and Oceania region. In independent practice since 2005, Architect Jignesh co-founded Jignesh Modi and Associates with architect Monica Modi. Over nearly 2 decades, their firm has carved a reputation for designing personalized and contextually rich spaces, ranging from urban residences to timeless countryside villas. Their work is defined by a seamless blend of functionality, aesthetics, and client empathy. Architect Jignesh is equally passionate about design education with over 15 years of teaching experience at the School of Interior Design, Surat. He continues to shape and mentor future professionals in architecture and interior design. He also serves as a jurist, visiting critic, and is on the board of studies for several design institutions, contributing actively to academic discourse. He holds a strong belief that architecture is intrinsically interconnected with interiors, landscape, ecology, engineering, and planning. His work and views have been published in leading national and regional platforms, including the Times of India, and widely featured in design-focused articles and publications across India. Outside the design studio, Jignesh is a dedicated environmentalist, crusader, endurance athlete, and community leader. He is a founder chairman of LCG Live Cycle Group, Surat, first cycling association. What began as a humble group of 3 cyclists in 2010 has now grown into a citywide movement of over 600 active city cyclists and runners, promoting a healthier, greener lifestyle. Among the many milestones, the team has conquered the legendary Kardunga Top, the highest motorable road in the world on bicycles. Whether in design, education, or advocacy for sustainability, Architect Jignesh Modi embodies passion, purpose, and progress. Please put your hands together and welcome Architect Jignesh Modi.
Yes, sir, we need your words of wisdom. The whole IID from across India is waiting to listen to you, our corporate members, our guests from London. We want just 2 minutes.
So good evening once again. So I'm not going to talk a lot, but I'm very happy to be here. Hyderabad is a fabulous host. Now my best friends stay in Hyderabad because I visit Hyderabad so often that all my recent best friends are from Hyderabad, including Praveen, Manoj, Ravi, Sona, Pallavi, and most importantly, we are not going to stop coming to Hyderabad because the food is wonderful, the people are wonderful, the architecture is wonderful, the city is wonderful, and once you are here, you want to come here again and again and again. So we look forward to hearing to our keynote speaker today, who has come from London. He has had an adventurous tour to India, reaching Hyderabad, and I'm sure he's going to tell you about it before he starts his keynote. But I will not make you wait any longer. So over to the keynote speaker, and thank you once again. Thank you for hosting us, and all my dear chairpersons and everyone who is here from all the 36 chapters of IIID from across India. Once again, I thank you for being here, being with us, and today sleep a little early because we are going to start the joint NEC at 9:30 a.m. Don't be up late. And if I get any reports that anyone was partying or anything, then you'll have to pay a heavy fine or something of that sort. So sleep early, be good, and reach tomorrow morning 9:30 a.m. sharp for the meeting. Thank you so much.
The other option the president has not given is don't sleep, go straight to the joint NEC. Yeah, Hyderabad, I think, has enough places where you don't need to sleep and will make you feel as fresh as ever. We have yoga tutors right amongst us. They can give you a session, quick session in yoga to make you feel energized and go straight into the NEC. So now moving on, and without further delay, for the evening for which we've all been waiting for since we knew the name of the speaker, I think everyone's looking forward to this. I now request our Joint Honorary Secretary of IID HRC, Architect Gaurav Prasad, to come on stage and introduce our keynote speaker, Architect Jonas Upton-Hansen.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of IID Hyderabad Regional Chapter, it is an absolute privilege and pleasure that I have to welcome and introduce our very special keynote speaker of the evening. Jonas Upton-Hansen is a founding director of the award-winning global architecture studio, UHA. In his earlier days, following his master's in architecture from Architectural Association, he joined Foster and Partners and collaborated on projects including some of the prestigious works such as McLaren Formula One UK headquarters and Monaco Yacht Club. In 2005, he moved from London to Chicago and joined the office of Murphy as associate principal, helping drive prestigious large-scale projects such as Hudson Yards in New York City and the Doha Exhibition and Convention Center in Qatar. Jonas returned to London in 2011, where he founded UHA, and quickly, within a very short period, started expanding in 2013 extensively with his first satellite office in Mumbai to oversee his growing portfolio across the globe. India has been fundamental to the growth of his studio, and he has professionally and also personally tied with India for his growing career. Jonas, whose mother was born in Mumbai, also has roots in India. And entering in its 15th year, UHA has delivered projects pan-India in numerous quantities, including in cities such as Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and Gurgaon. He has also opened his second office recently in Delhi. UHA also has offices now in Lisbon, Budapest, Taipei, Jakarta, Tokyo, and I think everywhere in the world now. There are lots of countries and cities that have been listed, but a very, very, commendable achievement. So without keeping you waiting for Jonas and without stretching his introduction longer, I'll allow him to speak and allow him to take you through this wonderful evening. Please join your hands in welcoming Jonas Upton. So please join us on stage.
Yeah, do better than this. And all this practice set up in 2011, mind you, just been 15 years now. So, yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
All the best. All yours.
Thank you. Good to hear the mic is working. Namaste, everyone. Good evening. First of all, thank you to IIID for the invitation to come and talk to you guys tonight. It's always great to have an excuse to come to Hyderabad. It's not my first trip to Hyderabad. I've been here probably about 10 times. But today was actually the hardest time for me to get here because I almost got stuck in Dubai and almost didn't make it tonight. But I'm here. I'm super excited to talk to you a little bit about UHA, but also talk to you about my journey for the last 15 years at UHA and the role that India played in our journey and our growth as a firm. And what I also wanted to do was talk a little bit about the lessons that we have learned over the years in India, how we have applied those lessons, and how we cross-pollinate those lessons across various markets around the world. What I also want to end with is talk a little bit about the trends that we see, not only globally, but also in India, and what I feel is going to be important in this next decade of quick expansion in India. There is no more exciting place to be than here in India. I think the next decade really is going to be India's decade. So without further ado, let's get going. My story with India starts well before I was born. Actually, it starts here in Bombay in 1949, just after partition, where my grandfather, struggling to find a job in Denmark post-World War II, got an invitation from two of his college buddies who had moved to India to set up a firm, and who told him, why don't you come and join us? In India, it's a country full of opportunities. So he took my grandmother, packed up their things, took the boat from Copenhagen, sailed around Africa, around the Cape of Good Hope, and arrived in India in 1949, just after partition. These pictures are from that time. This is what Bombay looked. This is a view of Malabar Hill. So you can imagine what a young civil engineer kind of thought when he arrived here. But this is my grandfather and my grandmother arriving in India on the boat, looking all young. And the middle picture, the little girl on the right-hand side is my mom, who is born in Mumbai. My grandfather started with his two college buddies, a firm that you now know as Larsen & Toubro, L&T. So they arrived, and he headed up ECC, which is the engineering and construction wing of L&T. Their first home, the view from their first home here in Warden Road in Mumbai. So this is what my mom saw in her childhood. Here you see my grandfather in the middle with the glasses, Henning Holglasen on his right, and some of the pictures that I was shown as a kid. The L&T adventure lasted for about 25 years, where he managed, together with his two college buddies, to build an incredible firm. And they stayed in India for 25 years until L&T was nationalized under Indira Gandhi in 1974. He had a vast collection of photographs from India, which he brought home. My mom's whole childhood was spent in India, in the kitchen, learning to cook Indian food. So I grew up eating Indian food, right? So coming here to Hyderabad and enjoying your biryani is something that I appreciate dearly. But India was something that I never arrived in India until later in life. But India was part of the stories that I was told as a youngster about the opportunities, about my mom's life there, about my grandparents' life there, about what they had built together. I saw pictures of the Lotus Temple that L&T had built, and heard about this company, but never really kind of knew much about it. But my grandfather being a civil engineer, I wasn't as good in math as he was, so I decided on architecture. And as was introduced earlier today, I started my career at Foster's. And the 3 images that you see on the left were the 3 first projects that I got involved with. I actually got involved with Monaco Yacht Club. That's how I got the job, because I grew up in the south of France and was familiar with the area. But needless to say that my first projects as an architect, they were all large projects. I then moved to Chicago. I was very interested in tall, high-density buildings. So I went to the birth of the skyscraper, which is Chicago, to learn about how do we design high-rise. And I did 6 years at Murphy Jahn under the architect Helmut Jahn. He's a German engineer, German architect, who's done some incredible work. And I got to work on buildings, high-rise, all over the world, from New York to Chicago to Washington to Doha, etc. So my experience was really in large scale. And I think you're going to see this across our portfolio at UHA. We don't only do architecture at UHA, we also do, you'll be happy to hear, interior design. So I will also touch a lot on how interiors impact our projects. We do architecture, interior design, landscape, and sustainability. But in 2011, I decided to found UHA. And it was a big word at the time, because it was really, I moved back to London from Chicago. I wanted to start my own firm, but I didn't really know how to do it. Because it was only me. I didn't have a portfolio of work apart from the big firms I had worked at. And I was renting a little place in London, and the office basically started out of my kitchen table. And I didn't really have experience of doing smaller projects. And typically in London, when you establish yourself as an architect, you work on smaller house extensions, you get to do your friend's flat, or you have a friend that needs an interior done. But I wasn't very good at that stuff. My experience was on big stuff. But who was going to give a single guy who had a team of nobody a chance of working on something big? London is notoriously difficult as an architect to get a large building because there's so much risk for the developer and the client. So I scratched my head. I got a few smaller commissions on private houses and some smaller luxury apartments, but I scratched my head and said, how can I start working on some bigger stuff? And my grandfather, who was still alive at the time, said, well, you know, why don't you follow in my footsteps and take a trip to India? And I said, ooh, why not? That sounds good. What an opportunity. So I organized a trip to India with one of my good friends, who you see there in the middle, who is now my business partner, Ricardo. He, at the time, was a partner at Foster & Partner and traveled to India a lot, so he knew India a lot better than I did. And our first trip, my grandfather reached out to one of his old colleagues, Mr. Naik, that you see, who was the chairman of L&T, and told him, my grandson is coming to India. You need to show him the factory. You need to tell him about all the opportunities that exist in this wonderful country. So we took this trip, and I never really knew how big L&T was. I heard it was a big company. But we didn't really have much time. We didn't have much money at the time, so I was bootstrapping. You know, I didn't have much projects, and I didn't know about L&T. But I'd been invited to meet with Mr. Naik, and I thought, okay, I'll take the auto rickshaw to go there. So Ricardo and I arrived in an auto rickshaw not knowing that they'd set up a huge welcoming committee with photographs and etc. So when we arrived in Powai at the headquarters, they asked us, who are you here to see? I said, I'm here to see Mr. Nike. And they said, really? I said, yeah. What's your name? Jonas. Jonas. Then we got 4 motorcycles around our auto rickshaw that followed us up to the compound at L&T and took us to see Mr. Nike and Mr. Subramanian, who's now the chairman of L&T after Nike's retirement. But what was incredible was that Mr. Nike invited me to his personal house, which is the location of my mom's birth. She was born in Pali Hill, Mumbai. So it was amazing to see that. And I remember asking Mr. Nike, how many employees do you have at L&T? It must be huge, 50,000? And he said, well, if you count contractors and people that we pay salaries to every day, it's 1 million people. And I was absolutely blown away. These are numbers that you don't experience anywhere else than in India. So I remember after those meetings, Mr. Nike said, can I help you with a project? That we have a metro system coming up, but we were nowhere near sort of ready for that. But the seed was planted, and I thought to myself, this is the place. And really, when I then logically thought about it, it's a country where they speak English. It's the largest democracy. And at the time, for international architects, for some reason, it was a country that was a little bit daunting. We got a lot, ooh, it's difficult to work in India. It's difficult to achieve good quality. The fees are low. The clients are demanding. But for me, so there was a niche there. There were not many international architects at the time. You only had the really big guys like Foster's or SOM who would do really, really niche, like an airport or a key project. But there was an increasing niche there for international architects that were not in the superstar league, but that were willing to come and do work in India. So we saw an opportunity there. And after coming to India a few times, we got our first commission. And this was a fairly new developer in Gurgaon. And I remember being quite nervous about the meeting, our first meeting together. He was incredibly well-dressed gentleman in very, very expensive clothes. And he basically told us about the 2 projects that he wanted us to design. He wanted us to do a clubhouse, which was the first time I really heard the term clubhouse. I didn't really know what it meant, because the amenities we have for our residential projects in Europe is maybe a little gym, maybe a little, place to meet somebody, but it's not clubhouse the way you think about it here. But he said, I want the clubhouse to be 80,000 square feet, and I want it to be like the Sydney Opera House. I want it to be an icon. So, and he told us about what he wanted. He wanted guest suites, he wanted bowling, he wanted ice rinks, he wanted pools, he wanted, I can't even remember how much he wanted, but there was a lot. And I came out of that meeting thinking, oh my God, how am I going to design that? And I just thought back to him. I said, I don't know the guy. I don't know. I'm completely out of my depth here. But the one thing that I did see on him is he had the largest diamond on his finger that I had really ever seen. So I figured he likes diamonds. That's one thing that he likes diamonds. And diamonds are, he wants this to be super luxurious. So obviously there's no better symbol of luxury and timelessness than a diamond. So this was the first sketch I did for this clubhouse, and was inspired by diamonds. And we started drawing this crazy structure. And you can tell from these sketches that I'd never worked in India. So I didn't know about Maiwan. I didn't know about, any of the construction techniques and how things are done in India. So I proposed a steel structure. Almost designed like a jewelry with 3 diamonds that would sit in there, a huge cantilever. So very ambitious, very young, very naive to a certain point. And very quickly I realized, I said, I need to get some really good images done so I can really impress this client. And what I had learned from my time at Foster and my time at Murphy-Yawn in Chicago is that imagery sells. Imagery is really important. It's not only important to sell an idea to our customers, but it's also really important to sell to the end customer. So we, I think, and this is still one of our kind of USPs, I think, to date, incorporated professional visualization within our practice. So from very early stage when we work, even from within 2 or 3 weeks, we will show the client very high resolution renders because it's part of the way we work, and then we keep updating them. Today, UHA, we have our own visualization team that sits in Budapest that does all our visuals and animations. So anything you see here was done by us. But this was really our first project, and I think it never got built, surprise, surprise, but we did do a full, the client absolutely loved it. But I think it came in at about 700 crores, which he didn't really have the appetite to indulge in. But we did full GFCs for this project, and this started a very long collaboration with this specific client. And we've since designed with this specific client over 35 projects in NCR alone. And I think that was another lesson that we learned about working in India. Here, you really do mean it when you say you work based on relationships. So all our clients here in India are longer-term relationships. They're clients that we do repeated work with and that we start embarking on a journey with to understand what their vision is, and it grows from there. And I think that's one thing that's really incredible in India is that when you do a good job for somebody, they recommend you to their friends, they recommend you to their family, they recommend you to their colleagues, and even they recommend you to other clients who might be direct competitors. And that's something very, very unique about India, because in other markets we find is that if you do good work for the client, they tend to say, okay, we'll take you, we need an exclusivity. It's very much the opposite here. The other project we had, which was our first project, our first project for this developer, was a farmhouse and in Delhi. And I thought it was a farmhouse with animals and, you know, cattle, but it was only later on that I learned that that's not what they define as a farmhouse in Delhi. So this was a 60,000 square feet private house for the whole family. And what that meant was that we had to meet with everyone in the family. We had to meet with the mom and the dad and the son and the uncle, and we had to do multiple rounds of layouts and make sure that everybody was happy. It took us a long time, but we really got to know the family. We traveled around the world with the family to see other houses and see how things were working. And after a very long time, we got to a layout that everybody was happy with. So we were really happy about that. But the chairman said, Jonas, there's just one little thing that we just need to check. And I've invited this guy, and they're called a Vastu consultant. And I remember we had these plans drawn up. We had these large plans, and the Vastu consultant brought a ruler. And what he did was he drew a big cross across our plans and basically told us, well, this is not in the right zone, and the pool can't be here, and the kitchen needs to be down here, and the master bedroom needs to be here. So essentially we had to start from scratch. But the good part of it was that we got the Vastu lesson very early on in our journey in India. And I remember coming back to the team in London and telling them about Vastu, and they're like, what is Vastu? I'm like, Vastu is sort of like, it's spiritual, and there are some basic fundamentals, but they're not always agreed to. And I've had projects with 2 Vastu consultants fighting over things, over, you know, what's right and what's wrong. And but we decided early on is how can we explain to our international team? We have an international team that comes, we have 25 different nationalities, lots of different cultures. So we tried to derive some kind of pseudo-scientific way of working with Vastu, also because Hyderabad's very defined, and Hyderabad is very sort of, it can only be this way, so it's actually quite easy to design per Vastu compliance here. But there are other places like Bangalore, like Delhi, where there's kind of varying sort of nuances to the Vastu. So what we tried to do was to sit down and create sort of I would call it a checklist, where we could then explain to our teams in London the scoring system about look at the entrance and where's the entrance, and look at the kitchen or the master bedroom, and then we would score points. And then if you were perfectly Vastu compliant, like in Hyderabad, then you would score a very high point, 100. But in Mumbai, when you're doing group housing and you're trying to maximize your FAR consumption and you're doing all the tricks of the trade, you can't always be completely Vastu compliant. So what we did is we actually started, this is a scheme that we did in Wadala, in one of our early schemes in Mumbai, super constrained site where we couldn't really do much. But what we tried to explain to the client is, look, these are the apartments that really comply and that have a high Vastu rating, these less so. And then they used it also as a sales strategy. And Vastu is actually, we grew so accustomed to using Vastu that we now use Vastu on other projects around the world that are not in India. And we actually recently, I just came back from Cyprus, and we have a tech guy, a Ukrainian tech guy who made billions in the tech industry, and he's into wellness. And he loved Danish architecture. So he invited Big, who are another big architecture firm, and ourselves to pitch for the house. And in the end, he gave it to us because he says, but you know about Vastu, and I'm really into Vastu. So we actually got a private house. We got a private house commission for a Ukrainian tech billionaire because of our Vastu experience. So we've sort of embraced that as part of the journey. Very early on, we realized that working in India is different to the opportunities that exist in other places in the world. And I was saying the next decade is going to be a very exciting, a very challenging, an incredible decade to work. But there are some big challenges ahead in India and in how we design and what we have to do and in how dense the developments are. And I think in order to have an impact as a designer, whether you're an interior designer or an architect or a landscape designer, it's important that we keep a bigger picture. And from our experience, it's the little battles that count. And the little battles, it's convincing the client to be the first one to do a little thing here or a little thing there, or, oh, maybe in this portion we should use this material instead of using this material, or maybe we don't need to air condition this space. And because of the density of developments that you do here in India, every little thing that we can get across as design professional, everything that we can convince our clients to do is a huge victory compared to other parts of the world. Right? Because of the density. And I think that in the next 10 years, it's going to be really important for us as architects and designers to really push and challenge our clients to not just kind of do the regular, oh, this is how we do things here and this is how everybody does it. They're taking huge risks. So it needs to be done in an informed way, and we're not going to change everybody's mind right away, but it is really important that we do that. And I think this is something that really drives us with our clients. We've incorporated sustainability into the main design services that we offer, because we found that it was just too difficult to convince our clients to get the sustainable data at the beginning of the project. They would always appoint the sustainability consultant later on in the projects, once the project was done. Little things and teaching them how to do stuff is really important. I spoke about relationship. This first house and the clubhouse that we did, neither of them actually got built. The clubhouse didn't get built because they ended up selling the piece of land because it had gone up so much. And the same actually happened for the farmhouse, where they actually ended up getting an offer on the plot of land that was too good to turn down. But those two projects led to this. This is one developer in India. These are the projects we've done. This is actually only a few of them. We've done about 35 with them. And the same goes for a lot of our bigger clients here in India. We have clients like Godrej, where we're working with them in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, in Mumbai, and in Delhi. So we work with these clients across the board. The next trend is another trend that we encountered fairly early, about 10 years back in Delhi, where we had a reputed developer who came to us and said, we have a site of 35 acres in the center of Delhi, and we want to build the tallest high-rise in Delhi at 218 meters. And we have roped in Versace, the fashion designer, as a brand ambassador for our project. And we thought, Versace, I mean, they're fashion designers. What are they going to do with this building? So we were a bit confused about how we could incorporate their brand. I come from a Scandinavian heritage. We're quite minimal in the way we design stuff, and Versace is pretty much the opposite. They're maximalists. But we took the challenge, and we decided, instead of just putting the brand on there, and instead of them just designing the interiors, how about if we start designing the building like you would design a dress, right? So we went into the archives and we spoke to people within the Versace organization, and we found that this was one of Gianni Versace's favorite dresses that he had designed in his career. And we said, what if we use this dress as an inspiration for how we design our building? And what if the building had sort of a series of layers like cloth or layers of fabric? You guys here in India have the most fantastic fashion and sense with your saris and your silk, and we wanted to incorporate that in the building. We said, can we do something in the building that sort of does that? And can we make it more, can we give it a little bit of curve? Can we give it, a little bit of a sense of the qualities that this Versace dress had? So we started looking at the geometries of this building within the balconies and within the bedrooms, and kind of shaping this building to become something that looks a little bit different from what your average building would be. This is the first sort of animations that we did for the client, where we basically explained to him, what if the experience of coming up, what if you had these panoramic lifts, what if the clubhouse, instead of being at the bottom, would be at the top? What if we got Versace to design the pool? And how would you sort of arrive, and how is this going to stand as an icon in the skyline? These are some of our later imagery that we did with them. Here you have some construction progress on site. So this is the tallest structure currently in your capital at 218 meters. And we managed to convince the client to do this complex curtain wall facade and this crown, where we have the clubhouse on top of the building. And the client also had the other buildings around it already designed, but they decided, why don't you guys come in and redo those as well, and design the full building. And again, this led to collaboration across, I think we've done 7 projects with this client still to date. This shows a little bit of the timeline of UHA. I spoke about our early humble beginnings in 2011, and how Mumbai was the first office that we opened. Now, why Mumbai and not Delhi? The reason was simple. We were given a very, very large project where the client wanted us to do supervision. So we had to bring a guy from London to start doing that. So that became our first international office. We hit the 100 project benchmark in 2015. And then we found out that this whole model of working in smaller offices actually worked really well, and actually sort of protected us from geopolitical or big events that happen, I think as architects, we're super sensitive to what the market does. We found out in India, for example, during an early election cycle, where half of our clients in Delhi overnight went bankrupt somehow, and suddenly all the projects stopped, and we was like, why are the projects stopping? It was like, oh, it's an election cycle. So we're like, okay, but what of our guys, what are they gonna work on? And there were lots of those kind of things that happen. We had oil clients where oil went from 120 to 20. We had projects where we won 5 competitions in a row in Mexico, and then again, the government changed, was where the president was not as much for construction as another. We found out early that if you want to be a larger architectural company, in order to protect yourself, you really need to diversify and go across many markets. And the way to do that as a smaller business is, instead of working out of one place, London, we can set up a series of super talented people around the world. So now the way UHA functions is we have 9 offices around the world. Some of the offices are a little bit bigger, some of them are smaller. And for example, our office in Mumbai, we're about 50 people. Half the people in that office are not even working on projects in India. They're working on projects in other places in the world, but they're super talented architects. A lot of our people in London work on projects in India. So we basically created what we call it's a series of international offices, but it's one studio. And we work across several offices on several projects. And this is actually COVID. We thought we were really smart. We're going to diversify us. If one market goes down, the other goes up. Then COVID hit, which just impacted everybody. So there we were sort of, so we thought, but what COVID taught us is we could really work across offices, and it didn't matter whether people were in one physical location. They could easily be in lots of different physical locations, as long as you had a critical mass. Anyway, here are some of our projects. We opened in Taipei, Lisbon, Budapest. We had our first exhibition in India of our work in 2023 in Delhi. We hit our 500 project mark in 2024. And we've actually just opened, as was said in the introduction, an office in Delhi and Jakarta. You might recognize the building on the top right. That's actually a project in Hyderabad that was launched a year ago called Cascades, which we did with a local developer here. We have 3 projects in Hyderabad at the moment, hoping to get more, but it's an exciting market. And I think we're currently working pan-India. So we have projects in Mumbai, Delhi, Lucknow, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, etc. And as well as in lots of places around the world, whether it's the Middle East, Far East, South America, America, and there are some trends that we really see globally, not just in India, that are really starting to impact how people design their projects and how clients want their projects to be, but also how the end user wants to live, really. And I think when we first arrived in India, it was a lot about how can we maximize the floor plans, how can we make sure there's no wasted space, how can we optimize, and it was much about the floor plan and the unit layouts and how the building looked. Now it's more about lifestyle. You're selling the lifestyle, you're selling, what am I buying into? What does my daily routine look like? And I think I've just put a little slide here with 4 different images. And I think the first one is about wellness. People are really embracing wellness in a different way than they were 15 years ago. And this is not just an Indian phenomenon, this is globally. People care about living healthy lifestyles, and not only healthy, physically healthy, but spiritually healthy. They want a better work-life balance, they want more time with their kids, they want more time for themselves. So increasingly we're being asked to design projects based on wellness, and it's also about being, healthy and providing the opportunities within our projects for people to have an active lifestyle, etc. So that's one of the trends that we're seeing. Sustainability is another. And this has taken some time, but I think India is really, as I was saying earlier, one of the places in the world where we have the biggest opportunity, because you see it. Delhi is the most polluted city in the world at the moment. Mumbai is not far behind. So we have a responsibility as designers to take the battles. We won't win all of them. But every little battle we win is progress. And I think the end user who dictates to developers, and most of our clients are developers, who dictate to them what they want, sort of gives them an opportunity to look at projects and see how to make them more sustainable in general. So I think as a profession, this is something we need to do across our interiors, etc. Community. I think community is really important, and I think India, you're all about community. I think the way your family system is set up here in India, where when you live together as families with your moms, your in-laws, your brothers, your cousins, and I think that's an incredible model. And it's a model that's been lost a little bit in Europe, in how we live. For example, my own mom, I lost my dad a couple of years ago, and she lives alone, and she doesn't feel that it's right culturally to come and live with us. Whereas if that had been in India, it would have been automatic, right? But community, I feel like, is something that's really important also because of the way we design in India. Historically, it's all about family, but the high-rise and the high-density projects that we design in India, especially historically, they don't lend themselves necessarily that well to a feeling of community, because you get in your lift, you go up, and then you don't walk by the house next door. It's not like a village where you know your neighbors. So I think as architects and designers, thinking about how we can give better communities to the end users in the developments that we design for, I think is super important. And then again, active lifestyles, I was speaking about it, keeping healthy, having places to go and do things. And I think that's one thing you do really, really well in India in terms of your clubhouse amenities and what provisions you achieve. And I'll speak a little bit about that later on. This project is one of our later projects. This was launched earlier this year. And this was actually the first project we did where the whole project was based only on wellness. That was kind of the key driver. The second one was the one we did here in Cascades in Hyderabad. So both of those were very much about wellness. And the client wanted a completely different climate. They wanted to take nature, bring it in to the development, making it a key feature of how we live, bringing spaces that were calm, where nature was in there, that felt healthy. From MEP to the filters we use in our air conditioning systems, to the materials we use, to the amenities, it's less about big and opulent, and it's more about natural materials, a lot of biophilia, healthy activities, healthy food, wellness programs, active lifestyles. And this is what we designed for this project called Omara. So it became, there's first project where we had a wellness consultant and a wellness guru that came in and advised us on the spaces. You can see the materiality. They brought in an interior designer. We did not do the interior design for this. They brought in an interior designer from Mallorca, actually, which is an island in Spain, who does a lot of the wellness retreats here in India, for example. A lot of us, when we want to feel good about ourselves, we go to India and check ourselves into wellness retreats. Right? So there's a lot of things that we can learn. You guys know how to do wellness, but it's how to implement them into the project. Sustainability, I wanted to give you a good example of a project where sustainability became key and where we sold some sustainable features to the client, not as a cost to him or not as something that he felt needed to be added, but as a real design feature. This is an incredible site on Juhu Beach in Mumbai. currently, there's 2 bungalows there that belong to the Shapoorji Pallonji family, the Mistry family. It's near an airstrip, private airstrip nearby, so it has 3 different height restrictions. And the developer said, I want you to maximize the front. I want you to build a wall. I want you to maximize every square inch towards the sea is what I want. So we gave him that, and it faces the beach. It's a beautiful beach view, but it's also a western view. And western views are really complex in terms of the sun, because the sun is typically low, it's setting, and you get the sun that basically shines really deep into your apartment. But this was a luxury project, and we told the client, what if we don't only look at this as a sustainable feature, but we also look at it in terms of privacy. You have this beautiful beach, you've got lots of people that walk there, it's a public beach, and sometimes you want to open up to the beach, but sometimes you want that privacy to be able to sit on your terrace and enjoy it without necessarily people looking at you, especially if you're in the category of clients that we were designing for there. So we proposed a kinetic facade with mechanically operated panels, so that our tenants could open up completely their balcony and not see any screens, but they could also close it up and have that element of privacy. And when they were not in the apartments, it would close up, the sun would not hit their facade, and the air conditioning bills would therefore be significantly reduced. And this was really, I think, one of the projects where we kind of made it fun, we made it part of the design of the building, and the client fell in love with it. This is another project in Pune, which was a beautiful site on the Mulamutta River, and it was a beautiful green site. They wanted a commercial building. We had a height restriction, and there's a lot of density we needed to get in here. And I went and visited the site. It was really lush and really green. And one of the concepts was, what if we, actually I'm just going to go to, what if we kept the same amount of greenery as the site currently have, but we take the whole building and we lift it up. So we take the whole building, we lift it up, and we continue the greenery up on the podium down. So if you actually look at the surface of greenery we have across the building, you get the same as the site. So we created this whole green garden across the site. And you can see how that building is lifted. So that whole building sits on 2 cores, and it's a composite steel frame that supports it. We've also taken Vastu very much into this design. The north side, luckily, faces the river, so you can see how it opens up towards the north side. We've closed it off much more to the south side, and we've overlapped it, so the slightly highest point is on the south side, so the south side shades itself. It's much more closed off around there, and that works from a sustainability point of view. And that's where, again, we try to bring the sustainable story into the building and make it part of the design, so it doesn't feel like it's something that jeopardizes or compromises anything. Again, designing for flexibility, I think that's something we also need to think about. Recently, I was in Gurgaon, and there was a project there by Foster's that the whole superstructure had been built over the past 8 years. And the project had then been sold to another developer, and the developer in the meantime had achieved additional FSI, or additional FAR. So what's happening at the moment is that there's a building, it's 4 or 5 towers, they're 180 meters built, concrete, superstructure done. They're demolishing those buildings so they can rebuild them from scratch, right? So sustainability-wise, these are issues that we need to think about, because we're building massive buildings here. The project we're doing in Hyderabad, Cascades, the actual build-up area is almost as big as the Pentagon. I mean, that's the size of the buildings you're building here, right? So we need to think a little bit ahead, not only how people live now, but how people live in the future. This is a good example of a floor plate where the structure is really minimal, and it allows you, on day one, it allows the developer to lease out the whole floor, but you can also divide the floors up, and the floor plate is not deep enough so that at a later point, if the building changes use, you don't know, it can be reused. And I think a lot of other countries we work in, adaptive reuse is becoming really important. So I think that's something we need to think about as well. So these very simple ideas that actually lead to quite exciting architecture, very unusual architecture that's both sellable and performs well from a passive point of view. I wanted to bring in a couple of interior projects that we've done as a firm. We are increasingly asked, and I don't know, this is because it's based on our first clubhouse, but everybody's trying to one-up each other in North India on who can do the biggest clubhouse. There's a famous project done by DLF that did very well in Gurgaon called Camellias that had, at the time, the biggest club that I've certainly seen, and this is globally, called Camellias. It's about 80,000 square feet. Everybody in that part of the world now is building bigger clubs than that. We're working on one club in Dwarka, which is 280,000 square feet, so 28,000 square meters just for the club, with a budget of almost, I think it's, last number I've seen was about 1,300 crores just for the clubhouse. So, and it's crazy money for these amenity spaces, and we are increasingly being asked to do the interiors for those spaces, and they're always quite exciting, but also really tricky because there's so many spaces to design. So what you see here is a project where the architecture was not designed by us. It was designed by another architect, but we were brought in because the client was really struggling to get some good spaces built. Essentially, the whole clubhouse was designed under 4 towers, so we were very restricted by the structure. They were building everything in Maiwan, so we had a lot of series of small rooms. So what we decided to use was to come up with a concept of the necklace. You have some of the best jewelers in the world, and we thought, what if we connected all these small places like jewels? And there were some spaces. We had 2 parking ramps, and you'll see this in a little bit. We had 2 parking ramps where we actually ended up using the top of the parking ramps, which were previously unused, to create our internal pool and to create our internal gym. We also wanted to bring nature inside and said, how can we make nature or greenery the focal point of these clubs? This was a specific point on the club where it was in the shadow. We wanted to bring natural light into it. We wanted to open them up and have these sort of micro gardens that became the feature point of these clubs. So we created these tubes that can be cleaned from above with trees that grow it, that are inside a conditioned space. So you're in an air-conditioned space here, internal space, but you have these areas of greenery around you. There's also a whole series of incredible spas, which ties into this whole idea of wellness and feeling good about yourself. This is what I spoke about earlier. This is on top of a ramp for the parking, for the podium. So what we've done is we've used the roof of the ramp, which is round, and we said, what if we just build a pool on top of it? Instead of making the pool straight, we make the pool round. And you can see it's open inside. We put some planters in the side, and we continue the structure of the parking ramp up to create this beautiful enclosed space. And whilst it being a constraint, it suddenly became a pool like nobody else had. So it's a round pool. And we did the same with the gym. Those were the biggest spaces we had that were column free. So we took them and used them. And I think that's one thing we find a lot in India. A lot of things that first seem like they're a constraint becomes an opportunity to do something that then becomes usual, and that becomes unusual, and becomes the USP of the project. So I think as designers, looking at challenges as an opportunity to do something and rethink about how we do things, I think has worked really well for us in the past. Kids clubs, actually, the fact that making projects intergenerational, I think is super important. Allowing for places for all ages and making places accessible to all ages is part of that whole idea of community. So providing spaces for people of all ages and for the senior folk is something that is a key driver in the projects that we do, especially the larger group housing projects. Here's the same club, and this is sort of the whole kids area, where again we've cut holes in the roof. We want it to rain. We want it during monsoon. We want to see the rain come down, and created these sort of indoor-outdoor areas. This is another clubhouse in Delhi, where the clubhouse is on top of the building. We like to use nature as drivers, and if you ever see cascades, that is one project like that. This one is called Altitude. It's in Gurgaon, and we have again a series of internal spaces, interior spaces that are inspired by water. I think storytelling is something that has been incredibly successful for us in India, not only for our clients, but when we present a project, if you can tell them a story that they can remember afterwards, then you're not just selling a plan, you're not just selling a design, you're selling a story, and that story they can tell their family, they can tell their end clients. It's something that works really well, and it's also something that helps us as a designer. So having strong concepts that then start to do the designing for you is really helpful. So you can see how the top of the buildings were designed. We start to bring that in to the elements of the interior. So there's some kind of consistency across the board. This is a project in Mumbai, in Pali Hill, which overlooks my mom's old house where she was born. And here we actually managed to convince the client that one of the biggest spaces should be an indoor-outdoor space. It should be an unconditioned space, and we proposed ceiling fans. We didn't want this space to be conditioned because you get this beautiful breeze at most times of the year from the sea, and as long as you keep air moving, the climate is actually such that you can have a really comfortable interior. So I think getting the data to help us as designers is really important, and that's why we set up internally our own sustainability firm that gives us the data on day one about what's possible in climate. Here you live in it's a huge country here, so the climate in Delhi is completely different from the climate in Hyderabad, which is completely different from the climate in Mumbai. So you have to understand the opportunities that exist in each location. And you can see this whole area there is an outdoor area, but with ceiling fans. And I wanted to show you this project because this is a recent project. This one is in Cyprus. And Cyprus, I came from Cyprus. I was in Cyprus yesterday. And we're working with a developer there who we've done a lot of projects with. And recently I convinced that developer to come to India to experience projects here in India and see how things were done. See the magnitude and the ambition of some of the projects in India. So he came to Gurgaon and to Delhi, saw some of our projects. We then traveled to Mumbai, and we developed this project for him in Cyprus. And he actually thought to himself, I need to completely rethink. His mind was blown when he came here. And he said, I need to completely rethink how the idea of a residential multi-story development. I need to bring in the lifestyle, I need to bring in the amenities. This was the result, which is a series of apartments. There in Cyprus, the climate is really pleasant. And what we don't have there is we don't have monsoon, we don't have high levels of pollution. So we can really optimize this whole idea of indoor-outdoor living. But what I think was really fascinating for me is the cross-pollination that exists between different markets and the lessons we can learn, because we learn a lot of lessons from things, how we do things in Japan, how we do things in Cyprus, how we do things in Miami. We've recently done a project in Gurgaon where we've taken some themes that we learned from our project in Miami and brought them to India and vice versa. We're increasingly becoming a global community where a lot of the people that buy apartments across India, they travel. They travel to Dubai, they travel to Hong Kong, they travel to London, they travel everywhere. So they are seeing things. They're no longer just looking at a floor plan. And I think that's the case for interiors, that's the case for the architecture. They want different products. Here you see the towers. Again, we convinced this specific client to use a very flexible structural program, a structural system, so that the apartments, he wanted those towers that if I want to make them an office, can I make them an office? If I want to make them residential, can I make them residential? So we designed them that way. And I think the way he looked at that is a lesson that we can perhaps also look at in India. I'm seeing a lot of projects in India where we cast huge projects, millions of square feet, and the whole building is entirely cast from my one. Internal partitions are all my one. Everything is cast in concrete. So, and that from a constructability point of view works really well. But from a sustainability point of view and from a future flexibility point of view works less well. So I think when we look at the next 10 years in India, I think there needs to be some educating that also happens to our clients, where you take them to other places in the world and show them what can be done so that we can inbuild some flexibility in our products here. Because the way we live now might not be the way we live in 10 years or in 20 years, right? So we might want to retrofit certain aspects of our life. Technology is changing how we live. We already, you can see now from 10 years ago, before COVID, now there's a lot more working from home. There's a lot more flexibility in the workplace. There's a lot of things that have changed. Us as architects need to do that. If all the spaces are already predefined, you can't change those. So in-building flexibility in what we do is important. The idea of community, the idea of social space is super important. And I think there's a couple of slides here I want to show you to finish off on, looking ahead at the next 10 years or next maybe 2 decades in India. This specific project that we're doing with the client in Cyprus, who I took here to India, who completely redesigned this project after being there, more than half the project is being open in the form of public plazas that are open to the public. And the whole thinking about that is people want to live in active communities. They want to live in places where people are doing stuff, where people come, where there's stuff going on. And I can tell you an interesting study, which is a bit separate, from a nursing home in Denmark, where there was a survey that was done with elderly people and said, what would your perfect room be? Would it be a pristine view on a lake? Would it be a pristine view on a beach or on a park or a busy street corner? And the vast majority came back a busy street corner because they want to see life. They don't want to be enclosed somewhere. So people want to be where there's activity. And I think we need to think if you look at India, and I'm being critical, then a lot of the projects we develop, this is because of many things, many factors, and not going to be solved overnight. But many of the projects, we call them bathtub projects. They're very inward looking. You build buildings around it, you create a beautiful green space, amenity space in the center, and you all look in on that. But there's not much connection necessarily to what's going on around it. They're gated communities for all intents and purposes. And I think if we look at the next 2 decades, I think we should challenge ourselves to look at how do we, and this needs to happen at all levels, this needs to happen at government level, how do we plug in to parts of the cities that are amazing, right? So here, for example, this is a public plaza that's becoming part of the project. This is also a private pocket park that you can access, so the public can go there with cafes, etc. This is a public plaza. There's one at the front, there's one at the back, where we have F&B, we have retail, mixed-use projects. You guys do it super well here. But I think it's about creating places where people can go. It becomes a destination, and if place is a destination, it becomes a place where people want to live. And this slide, I know it's pixelated, but it gave me a lot of hope, and it gave me a lot of excitement. And this is in Mumbai, where they're planning a coastal park that's going to run all the way along the coast of Mumbai, and it's going to be a public park. And I think once you start creating these kind of parks, then you're going to want to start creating connections. You're going to want, if you have a building that faces that park, you're going to want to open your gates so you can go out there and enjoy the park, etc. So I think at government level, we need to start thinking about more public amenities, public parks, public areas that we can plug into. And I think developers need to do the same. Maybe there needs to be a little bit more generosity in how we design spaces. Maybe there's some spaces that we can give back and make the project stronger as a result. To finish off, I'm just going to indulge you. This is just a little show reel of some of the projects that we're doing around the world to give you kind of an idea of it. Some of the projects are built, some are still on the drawing table. Incredible amounts of excitement in all sorts of places in the world. And all this, guys, was possible because my Indian clients were the first one to give me a chance to really design something at scale. And it's grown from there to where we're going now. So thank you for that. I also want to put a special shout out because when I arrived as a one-man band, the way it worked to get my first project was that I was embraced by local architecture firms. And pretty much 99% of the projects we do all over the world, we collaborate with local architecture firms who have the expertise, who have the knowledge, who brings, decades of knowledge. So I think this is not about just UHA doing something or a one-man band doing something. This is about collaboration and collaborating with local firms or local expertises. They each bring something to the table. And it was that collaboration. Our clients didn't question how many people I had because we had a local architecture firm that we were collaborating with that had 200 people, and that made it possible. So I think collaborations, working together, bringing different expertises together, different sort of artistic sensitivities together, different cultures, cross-pollinating is how we're really going to do some exciting work in the future. So thank you very much. I hope that gave you a little insight into how we do things.
Mesmerizing, amazing, Jonas. And I think the best part is, first time, we've listened to an architect not born in India, grew up in Europe, and then so well adapted India and the way India thinks, and bringing clients from abroad to show projects in India and then get back projects abroad. I think that's amazing. So thank you for, just showing your journey. Amazing, the context. I'm telling you, the first time we've heard so much on Vastu. So I think we're going to follow that chart. I'm very sure you're all going to follow the chart, what you've done. That's going to make our lives simpler. So we have the scoring marks on our charts for the Vastu. So please stay along. While I call, no, you need to stay back. You deserve a bigger round of applause. IIID President, Architect Dignesh Modi, to come on stage. Also, our President-elect, Architect Shamini Shankar Jain, IIID, to come on stage. And I would request N. Praveen Kumar, Chairperson, IIID HRC, Architect Rakesh Basu, Honorary Secretary and Convener, Insider X 2026, and the co-convener, Naveen Kumar Chalsani, and the Treasurer of IDHS to come on stage and do the honors. We can all take center stage. 1 minute. If you can just remove that from, maybe. Jonas? And Jonas asked me, should I finish in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes? I said, yeah, we've come to hear you from many parts. You can go on. But Jonas, I think it didn't seem like 50 minutes when you spoke. Great job, I think. A round of applause, please. Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Jonas. So Jonas, I wouldn't let you go. I just want to, I want to see a raise of hands. If anyone has any questions to ask Jonas, I want to give him a break before if anyone wants to ask any questions, if you just raise your hand or we'll let him go. Or you can just stand up, we'll get the mic to you and you can ask. Anyone standing up to ask any questions from the speaker? So thank you, Jonas. I think we can always catch up with him while we have dinner. So I think, yeah, it's a cliche when I say that, no program can be complete without the support of our sponsors. And for this evening today, we had Enhance Crafted Luxury as a sponsor for the fellowship evening. I would now request the sponsor AV to be played. And if we have Mr. P.V. Jayabharat Reddy, we can please have him on stage so we can felicitate him as well. Meanwhile, can we have the AV for the sponsors, please?
Most people see what's there. You see what could be. Not just because you think differently, because you refuse to stop where others do. You question, you challenge, beyond trends, beyond expectations, beyond what's been done before. Because great design isn't created by following convention. It begins with the ability to see differently, to recognize opportunities where others see limitations, to imagine experiences before they exist. Because the spaces that leave a lasting mark are never ordinary, and neither are the people who create them. And for creators with such an uncommon zest for design, we present Enhance, a partner. Traveling across the globe to source materials and finishes. Bespoke furniture crafted around the vision. Decorative lighting that transforms the complete experience. Precision engineered modular kitchens and wardrobes designed for modern living. An integrated ecosystem designed to support those who imagine boldly. Those who design with purpose. Those who believe every detail matters, whose choice is uncommon in every sense. Enhance, crafted luxury. Let's collaborate and turn your extraordinary ideas into beautiful spaces together.
Thank you. Can I now request our sponsor, Mr. P.V. Jayabharat Reddy, to come on stage. And I would now also request our Chairperson IDHRC N. Praveen Kumar, Vice Chairperson Trade, Mr. Ramesh Patel, Convener and Co-Convener, Architect Rakesh Vasu and Architect Naveen Kumar Chalsani to come on stage to felicitate Mr. Jayabharat Reddy. We can have a round of applause. You're enjoying the evening thanks to our sponsors. They've been very kind enough to support the initiative at IID and HRC. बस मैम Thank you so much. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our past chairs from IID-HRC who are with us. A very senior mentor and past chair, Architect Qasim Ali Khan sir. We have Architect Ravi Anchuri sir, Architect Nand Kumar, Architect Aparna Bidarkar, Architect Pallavi Anchuri. Thank you for supporting us and being all encouraging us while we keep doing our events. Thank you so much. I would also like to now play a short video on the Sthapatya Utsav. Basically, this is a concept which we've created for the on the sidelines of Insider X. In fact, it's come to be one of the most sought after event where students are involved, and you'll have to see the video to understand what we do during this Sthapatya Utsav. Can I have the AV, please? A big round of applause. 270 students across 12 architecture and design colleges gathered for this 3-day workshop, hands-on. I think this is one of the most satisfying parts of Insider X. You know, getting students, getting them hands-on work, this is the next, and getting them mentored, and then I'm not sure how many of you have seen their final finished products, but I encourage all of you to please don't miss this. It's right in the hall number 4. The entire workshop output has been displayed there. Please go and encourage all the students. And I would now request, we would want to felicitate the students' art installations coordinator, architect Suman Rekha. Architect Suman Rekha. Round of applause. To revive that part back and bring them into mainstream design. Then we have Mr. Aditya Viparthi from the Luminaire workshop. Our own MC member, architect Amit Shah for the reverse design workshop. Mr. Bram Rose, who did the woodcraft workshop. Mr. Rangu Udaya Bhanu and Mr. Rangu Nagaraju, who did the Pembarthi workshop. So this Pembarthi workshop was done again. It's a metal craft where designers and architects ended up making photo frames and installations on live, and they did a hands-on workshop. Architect Sridhar Reddy, who did the student design and art craft installation. Aditya Singh Raju, who also mentored the second craft installation by students. And architect Nahima Shahnawaz, who mentored the third student installation. So basically this time, for the IID Excellence Awards, we introduced another category called the Students Installation. So the colleges participated in groups, and I would now request to felicitate such a wonderful group of mentors. Again, Jignesh Bhai, you'll have to stand up and come on stage. No one better than the IID president to encourage our mentors who've done so well for the students. Praveen Kumar, our honorary chairperson, architect Rakesh Vasu, architect Naveen Kumar Chalsani, architect Pallavi Anchuri, architect Sushmita Subudhi, who's the education coordinator for the MC, architect Roxana Chenna, and architect Amit Shah. So these are the people who will be felicitating. We are so grateful to all the mentors for sparing so much of their time and making sure that the students really shown their full potential. Big round of applause. I think we need to do this. Deserves the biggest round of applause, because I think this is one of the things which IID stands for, you know, getting education and making sure that students are part of the mainstream and they are well prepared to understand the nuances of design, especially when we lose local crafts, local art, stone art, cherial art. We always make sure that we are using these techniques which are now being forgotten and which cannot be learned mostly online or through AI. So I think this is so important that we do these very hands-on workshops every time we collect for the Insider X. This has been a regular part of the Insider X, as it's one of the core parts where we make sure that students are an integral part. And you would also notice that there are more than about 120 students who are from, again, various design colleges wearing the t-shirts and volunteering for various activities, not just for the 3 days for the exhibition, for at least 2-3 days before the exhibition as well. You know, taking so much of load from our Kriya committee and MC committee that, you know, it just feels to get on so smoothly. So the installations of the students are also placed in the hall number 4. So the first prize winner was the CSIIT College. They have done their installation. As you enter the hall number 4, to the right, the nice, beautiful wicker lotus flower. Then there's another installation down the hallway, which is made up of these branches, and there's a lot of ropes tied around. That's the first runner-up, which was the installation done by the Vaishnavi School of Architecture and Planning, and there's one in the middle of the hall, which is the lights, the white color balls, which is the second runner-up, which was the JNAIS School of Architecture. So these are the 3 student design installations which we have put up for all of you to see. And we have mentors right on stage who mentored, setting up those installations. So that's another first, that we introduced art installation by students as one of the categories of our Design Excellence Awards from 2026 onwards. And to be very honest, this could have only happened with the entire managing committee chipping in spite of all their other roles and responsibilities, to make sure that this workshop happened. And we had members from our Kriya committee, which is the backbone of all our big events, who are also responsible and involved in the Sthapatya Utsav. I would request, please, you can all stay back. We would just request, I'd call some names who are not on stage. Afshan Khan, ID Manisha Tekchandani, Mr. Arjun Kedia, Mr. Shankar Kale, Mr. Mohan Sompalli, Mr. Monica Devaki, Ms. Monica Devaki, Architect Musharraf, and Architect Arun Thati. Pallavi ma'am, you can stay back. We are calling these people who are also part of from the Kriya committee. They were coordinating for this entire Sthapatya Utsav. Yeah, just group photo, yeah. No, sir. We'll have one group picture, then you can step down with all of you. Just 1 minute. Come on, please. Yeah, photo. Unka ho gaya na? Yeah. What is this? No. This is your... And ID past president Jabin Jakarias.
No, after this one.
After this. No. CEP folio head for the electricity and members, and CEP folio head architecture and sector head architecture for the CEP 5 poetry of light. And past president, IIT, architect. Yeah. No, not together.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure all of you all are aware that on 18th of June, we had a wonderful CEP 5. Many of you all participated in this as well. We had a CEP on poetry of light. And many of the participants went through fundamentals of lighting design through it. So to acknowledge and to recognize this wonderful effort, it is my privilege to announce that we'll be felicitating the NEC member and CEP folio head, architect Vaishali Pradhan, and the sector head, architect Manoj Vahi. For this, I would like to first call on stage our IID immediate past president, architect Sarosh Wadia, sir. Sir, please join us on stage. And along with him, I would request our IID past president, architect Zabin Zakarias, ma'am, to please join us on stage. Ma'am and sir, thank you. I would also request architect N. Praveen Kumar to please, chairman IID HRC, to please join us on stage. And of course, I would request our IID President, Architect Jignesh Modi, sir, please be on stage. Can I have the mementos, please? So now I'd like to call on stage Architect Vaishali Pradhan, NEC member and CEP folio head. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for them. And I would also request our IID HRC past chairperson, Architect Manoj Vahi, and sector head to please join us on stage. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The clap should not stop, please. Help us acknowledge the hard work put in by these two people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, dignitaries on the dais.
My glasses I left behind. Huh? No.
Felicitation of the chapter chairperson selection.
Yeah.
So now I think we all know that amongst us we have chapter leaders from across 37 chapters and centers. Clap. So we have chapter leaders, and this is wonderful. And I would now request all the chapter leaders of the chapters, I'll be just calling out names.
For so many people.
And also I would request our National Honorary Secretary, Architect Anshuman Sharma, to come on stage. And I would also request our past chairpersons of IID HRC, Qasim Ali sir, Architect Nand Kumar, Engineer Ravi Anchuri sir, Pallavi Anchuri, Aparna Bidarkar, because we have crazy numbers, right? Just imagine now we have, I'm told 33 chapter center chairpersons at Hyderabad, 33 of them, starting with Ahmedabad, Chirag Dhirendra Doshi, Ahmednagar, Surat Satish Nanavare, Amravati, Komal Gilda. Please come on stage. You can just please, in the order you are being called. This is called in the order of alphabets. Bangalore, V. Vishwanath, Bharuch, Chirag J. Vadgama, Bhopal, Ankush Narayan Pathe. We can keep clapping for them. They've traveled from their cities. They've come here to witness Insider X. They've come here to attend their joint NEC. Chandigarh, Sohan Lal Sharan, Charotar, Maulik, Pavagadi, Chennai, Srinivasan V. Kunakudi, Coimbatore, Ashish Raichura, Goa, Pallavi Siddharth Satardekar, Hubbali Dharwad, Gururaj Ashok Naik, Indore, Vikas Thakkar, Jaipur, Kshitij Manu, Kerala, Chitra Nair, Kolhapur, Chandan Suresh Mirajkar, Kolkata, Sumitro Majumdar, Lucknow, Aviral Agarwal, Marathwada, Lakshmi Kant, Mohan Rao Surve, Mumbai, Ketan Ramesh Sheth, Nagpur, Seema Nilesh Agrawal, Nashik, Hakim Hassan Ali Sinarwala, New Delhi Hemant Sood, Pune Nakul Sanjeev Rege, Raipur Lokesh Chandrekar, Saurashtra Mehul Mukesh Bhai Buddhadev, Surat Sohail Ibrahim Mansoor, Thane Manjusha Ayodhya Kumar Shresht, Udaipur Shikha Purohit, Vadodara Uday Amin, Vizag Abhinya Grandhi, Hyderabad N. Praveen Kumar, and to our youngest youngest center which has just joined the IID bandwagon, Kanpur Architect Dhirendra Kumar Mishra. So this is wonderful. You have on stage all the leaders of all the chapters and centers who are spreading IID's mission and vision across each and every city of the country. This is really amazing. Applause to all of them for traveling to Hyderabad and carrying back. I'm sure they're going to carry back lovely memories and, come back again. Can you all come? Yeah, actually, after you receive your mementos, if you can please stand in a line, and after which I'm sure we'll be using the steps of the stage to take a group picture.
I'll do that, yeah.
And while they are receiving their mementos, I would also request everyone in the audience and also those on stage to make sure that you are all visiting the exhibitors I'm sure if you've seen glimpses of the exhibition, they have done extremely well, put in a lot of energy and their detailing to make sure that they have displayed their products superbly, and you need to go and encourage them so that, they feel nice about it. And another important announcement to our trade partners and corporate partners of IID, as we all know that we are all going to gather here back again in January 2027 for the National Convention at Hyderabad. So, if any one of you wants to start a conversation on supporting the National Convention at Hyderabad, we have members of the NEC whom you can reach out to today, tomorrow, while you are here. You can start your discussions with them. I'm sure there are great opportunities to partner with IID at the national level, because this is going to be also one of the biggest events, the signature event of IID at the head office, which is the National Convention. This is happening in Hyderabad in January 2027. So while we are witnessing another historic moment where we have so many chairpersons on the stage,
So it was not written or you were putting?
Can I spot our chairperson-elect in the crowd, Amita Raj? Yeah, if you've had your water, can you also join us on stage? Please. So one round of applause to our chairperson-elect, Amita Raj. She's also been one silent operator for our Insider X and for all these events. I would now also request if we can have the NEC members and office bearers of the NEC once for the fun final. The magnificent pick is what we call this, where we have the national and the chapter center leaders all in one big frame. So I would request, if I can request our President-elect, Architect Shamini Shankar Jain, immediate past President Saroj Wadia, past President Jabin Zakarias ma'am, NEC members, Vice Chairperson Trade Mr. Prashant Reddy, NEC members Mehul Kamdar, Haresh Prasanna, Vaishali Pradhan, Sheetal Agarwal, Hashmukh Shah, Prateek Agarwal, Ganesh Wable, Aditya Kammatla. They are sitting in a corner in the dark. They want to go straight to the dinner, but I won't let them go till they come onto the stage. Please come on stage. Yogesh Thakkar. So this is another historic moment where we miss the presence of our National Treasurer, Sunita Varghese. Due to a family emergency, she could not join us. She was slated to travel to Hyderabad, but other than her, I think we have the 100% NEC on stage. We have more than 90% of the chapter leaders with us. We have 100% we have more than 50% of the past chairs at the Hyderabad regional chapter, all in one big frame. So this is one moment. Pardon? Nahi hai, sir. I can count at least more than 120 people in the audience who are going to be clapping very hard so that we all know that there is a very big audience. I can hear all the claps for this magnificent group of people who are taking IID places. They are the strengths and the backbone on which IID is so effortlessly sailing. And I can see one lady in the crowd, the first lady of IID, Monica ma'am. You need to also come on stage because you have silently supported IID. One picture. No ma'am, we won't let you go without a picture on stage. Monica ma'am, you are as much an IID without, you are the office bearer without portfolio. You are the without portfolio member. I'm very sure you are one of the key support systems of our president, which makes you very important for our association. So I would request Monica ma'am to come onto the stage. Hemant bhai, good to see you. I request everyone to make sure that he's in the frame because, to be very, very honest, this is a very rare pick for IID to treasure forever, where Hyderabad has hosted all chapters and center chairpersons, the entire NEC, our past chairs. Oh, I am also a past chair, sorry. Thank you so much. And now I would invite the Honorary Secretary of Hyderabad Regional Chapter, Architect Rakesh Vasu, to please present the vote of thanks.
They're all drinking already.
And let it be. That's how it is.
Good evening all. First of all, I would like to thank the President of IIID, Architect Jignesh Modi, NEC team and all the chapter chairpersons and office bearers of all chapters and centers, pan-India, for being here and gracing the occasion. I thank Architect Jonas Upton, who gave a wonderful presentation on his prestigious projects, so relatable to Indian context. I thank the sponsors for this evening, Enhance, and the corporate members of IIID across India. I also thank the venue setup partner, Namdari, F&B partner, Sri Lakshmi Vasista, and venue partner, Hightex. I request all the members to kindly visit the expo tomorrow, where we have wonderful stalls. And now, please join for cocktails and the specially curated Hyderabadi cuisine for dinner. Thank you.
I would still like to make this announcement for all the people who attended the CEP for lighting yesterday. So we have Pallavi sitting right on the table at the corner onto the left of the stage. If you haven't signed your name please do so. You will get extra 2-point credits for the CEP if you have your names registered with Pallavi. So I would request anyone who has attended today's fellowship meet and also participated in the CEP yesterday, please make sure you sign the register which is with Pallavi from HO. She's sitting on the first table onto the left of the stage. Thank you. Good night.